my next favorite project, because it seems like every project I get ends up being my favorite. Now I've got another one that's really cool. So I'm getting to make got a contracted out to make another custom walnut table, and this one's going to be pretty cool. So it's going to be very similar to my last build, but that's the really beautiful part of doing live edge slab tables, is that even if your procedure is done the same, it's still going to look different. You know, the grain pattern's all different. Like this one, and you'll see it later on in the process, this one's got some curly walnut in it, which you don't find very often. I think it's like 1 or 2% of all walnut has curly walnut in it. It's considered an exotic wood, but there's only certain sections of it. It's not like the whole thing. If the whole thing were, oh my goodness, that table. But this has got sections of it where it's curly. So it's going to have some amazing grain pattern, which was one of the reasons why people love walnut, is because of the contrasting colors and just some beautiful lumber all the way around. But I'm doing a table, fireplace mantle, a little bit of trim work for a new house, and maybe we're kind of waiting, possibly some floating shelves out of walnut. Everything would be walnut. So let me show you this one. I've been sitting on one of my sawhorses. All right, so this is the new table. Once again, walnut. This is going to be, right now it's like 2 1/8 inch thick. It's going to be right in that 2-inch solid walnut thickness by the time it's all said and done. I've ran each of these. It's going to be 3 pieces to get my width and everything that's needed based off the customer's requirements. You can see it's obviously not jointed yet. I've got to do, let me get down here. Got to do my my joinery to connect those, and I've also got to trim a little bit off. Anytime I make anything, for the most part, I tend to give myself some extra room, especially on something like a table. You can see I get a little bit of snipe from my planer. I need to fine tune my planer in and out feed just a little bit, and I'd get rid of that snipe. But for right now, I always just make sure I've got a little extra room to play with. See, same thing down here. A little bit of snipe. You can also see where I screwed this in to my jig to try and make it all flat running through it. It's not perfectly flat, even though I've run each 3 pieces through separately. I haven't run all these through. I'm about to do it. I'm going to do one more pass on it. I'm going to set the setting at one setting, run all 3 slabs through, and that should be a pretty true fit. It's never 100% perfect. You can see right now that level sits pretty flush, a little bit of a gap in there. So anytime I've made a table such as this, the planer gets it very, very close to getting it truly, like, perfectly flat. But I end up always having to come back later. It makes for a better finish. I'll come back later with a hand plane and hand plane some of the high spots out and get this thing as flat as possible. The only other way for me to go about doing that would be, and I don't have it yet, would be to do a big router sled, where you set up a sled system, a rail system, and then you have a flattening bit on a router that you just go back and forth, back and forth. I don't have one of those. It would come in very handy for projects like this, but I don't have one yet. This is book matched. The corresponding cut. So this one and this one were cut this one here, let me back it up just a bit. This one here and this one here were cut 1, 2, and then this was the 3rd cut. This grain right here matches this It's a continuation of this one. It doesn't mesh perfectly on this, but I think by the time we get that joint tight and everything, I don't think you're going to notice it very much. But these two here are, you know, it matches up perfectly on these. Live edge all the way around. The knots, by the time I get done with the knots, they'll be really smooth. And then I'll just take, like I did on the last one, I'll take some clear epoxy and do some clear epoxy to fill in these cracks and knots. It looks pretty good in the final product. I think it looks really good. On clear epoxy on walnut, has almost a black look once all the finish and everything's thrown on there. It has a really nice, to me, if you're using epoxy, it kind of has like a nice elegant feel to it. This one here, a little bit of a hole that goes all the way through. I will have to, I'll have to fill that in on the bottom, or I'll have to seal it up really well before I fill this one, and I think this one here. But so those will be filled with epoxy, and then the rest of it, like, yeah, the rest of it's all clear, all clean. Got some nice wave to this. It goes all the way down. It's gonna be really pretty. Here's some of that curly walnut sections. There's some other curly here in between the knots. Really, all throughout the knots is curly lumber. Which once you put, I'm planning on putting on Odie's oil with a couple layers of wax, hard wax on top. That really brings out that curly walnut. We got curly all through here as well. So same thing, because it's mirrored, it's going to be the same over here. So I think this table is, as long, I say it quite frequently to people, as long as I do my part and I do it right, this table is going to be impressive. So it's going to be a nice one, and I'm looking forward to it. I've got to get all this bark. This bark won't stay. I'll take a draw knife and get it down to where it's the sapwood. We get all the sapwood showing. But I tend to do that once the table has... I could do it now. It wouldn't hurt anything. It's just... Oh, and you're seeing tons of mess. See my scrap lumber pile that I need to burn. I'm in the middle of renovating a lot of this stuff down here. I mean, I've got lumber piled everywhere over here. Got a new workbench, new to me. We've had it for a while. My wife has had it in her work area in the garage. But we did some different things up there, and so I brought that one down here. And then my whole lumber wall, and a whole lot of, I mean, right now I'm having to like go over the top of lumber just to use the planer. Kind of running out of room. I need my tool wall, and then I've got an idea for that corner. I'll probably show you all in a video later. But boy, I can get off topic in a hurry, especially when I see my mess. But anyway, this is going to be an amazing walnut table. So I'm going to get this planed up one more time, one more pass at the same level on all three slabs. Get my joint line. I need to get this nice and tight. And then once I've got my joint line just the way I want it and I'm comfortable with it, then I'll glue it up. And the glue up is very, you gotta, I will say you gotta take your time when you do your glue ups, but you don't have a lot of time when you do your glue ups. You gotta work pretty quick. And gluing up live edge, getting the clamp to hold at times is not always the easiest. So it can be a bit tricky. Either way, I'm going to get back to it. Let's get this thing finished, planed, jointed, and I'll bring you all along the whole way. You get to see the final product at the end. Thanks for watching.